morning light had barely touched the quiet suburban street when the little girl came running, her backpack bouncing, her breath shaky, and her eyes filled with the kind of fear no 7-year-old should ever know. She kept glancing behind her as if shadows chased her, as if the world had become too big, too loud, too unsafe. And then she froze. Right in front of a row of heavy black motorcycles, chrome glinting like steel in the sun, stood a group of leather-clad bikers. Towering. Intimidating. Silent. But she didn't run. Instead, with trembling hands pressed tightly to her chest, she whispered the words that would change everything. She wasn't safe, and she needed help. If you believe in kindness, redemption, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, because this story is about the power of unexpected heroes. For weeks, little Emma had been walking alone to school. Her mother worked early shifts, and her father, who had once filled the house with laughter, had passed away 2 years earlier. Emma tried to be brave, but bravery has limits, especially when the world feels hostile. A group of older kids had begun targeting her, mocking her, blocking her path, even pushing her once. She tried telling teachers, but bullying rarely disappears simply because adults ask it to. So she walked to school every morning carrying fear like an invisible weight that grew heavier each day. That morning, everything inside her broke. She had woken up determined not to cry again, but as she reached the edge of the industrial lot near her neighborhood, she saw them. The older boys. Waiting. Leaning on their bikes. Laughing at her fear. She panicked and ran as fast as her little legs could take her, ducking into a side lot she normally avoided. She didn't care where she was going, she only needed to escape. And that's when she stumbled into the middle of the motorcycle club. The bikers were intimidating, with their weathered faces, thick leather vests, and roaring engines. But the moment the biggest one knelt in front of her, everything shifted. His rough voice softened as he asked if she was okay. She didn't know why, but something in his eyes, something honest, something quietly broken, made her believe he cared. So she told him the truth. She wasn't safe. She was scared. And she didn't want to walk to school alone anymore. The biker, whose name was Hawk, felt something twist deep inside him. He had a daughter once, before life storms tore his family apart. Seeing Emma tremble ignited something fierce and protective within him. When she asked if he and his friends could walk her to school, just once, just so she felt safe, none of the bikers laughed. None hesitated. They simply nodded. When Emma stepped onto the sidewalk that next morning, she found 12 massive motorcycles lined in formation outside her home. The engines rumbled like a lion's purr, low and powerful, vibrating through the ground. Hawk stepped forward, offering a gentle half-smile that wrinkled the corners of his eyes. Emma's mother watched from the porch, stunned yet speechless. She didn't know these men, but she knew fear in her daughter's eyes, and she saw it fading now, and so they rode behind her, slow, steady, protective. Emma walked at the front like a tiny commander leading an army. Drivers slowed. Neighbors stared. But no one mocked. No one dared whisper cruel things. The bullies who had tormented her the day before scattered the moment they saw the unlikely guardians marching behind her. That morning, Emma walked into school with her head high for the first time in months, but the bikers didn't stop there. Hawk noticed how Emma lingered each afternoon at the school gates, waiting for courage before beginning her walk home. So the next day, they came again. And the next. And the next. Soon, it wasn't just Hawk's group, other chapters joined, other riders volunteered. Emma became everyone's little sister, the child who reminded them that even rough men could carry gentle hearts. The school principal approached Hawk one afternoon, concerned at first. But when she saw the way Emma's anxiety had melted away, how her smile had returned, she understood. These men were not trouble, they were hope in leather jackets. They were family to a child who desperately needed one. What the bikers didn't expect was how Emma changed them too. They had lived hard lives, mistakes, regrets, lost families, years of feeling like outcasts. But Emma treated them like heroes. She drew pictures of them on construction paper, big helmets, big bikes, big smiles. She waved when she saw them, hugged them without fear, and made each man feel, maybe for the first time in years, like he mattered. One afternoon, after a long week of escorting Emma to and from school, Hawk found her standing outside the clubhouse, clutching a small purple notebook. She asked him if she could read something. Inside were letters she had written, not just to Hawk, but to every biker who walked with her. Letters saying thank you. Letters saying she felt safe now. Letters saying her dad would have liked them because they weren't scary, they were good. The tough men who had ridden through storms, fights, and losses found themselves swallowing tears they pretended weren't there, and then came the day that changed everything again. Emma had been called on stage during an assembly at school. The teachers had noticed the shift in her, how happy she was, how confident, how light she seemed. Standing in front of her classmates, she talked about fear, about kindness, about unexpected heroes. Then she pointed toward the back of the room, where Hawk and a group of bikers stood awkwardly, oversized leather vests contrasting with the school gym's colorful banners. The entire room erupted in applause. They weren't just bikers anymore, they were protectors. They were family. They were symbols of courage in a world that often misunderstood them. If this story touches your heart, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story so more people see the power of kindness. And now, before we end, we have a special request. Tell us in the comments below, what does kindness mean to you? Emma's life changed because a handful of strangers refused to walk away from a frightened child. And those strangers changed too, because sometimes all it takes to heal old wounds is the chance to protect someone who believes in you. In the end, the bikers didn't just walk Emma to school, they walked her back into the light. And she, in her small but mighty way, walked them toward redemption.